You are holding a Stihl. You bought it at a local dealer, not a big box store, because that is what serious buyers do. The label says Virginia Beach. The quality is real, and the company that owns it is in Weiblingen, Germany, and has been since 1926. There are exactly 3 chainsaw brands still manufacturing on American soil, not assembling, not sourcing components from 12 countries and bolting them together in a domestic warehouse, actually manufacturing. The 3 brands are Stihl, Husqvarna, and Echo, and not one of them is owned by an American company. German, Swedish, and Japanese in that order. Stihl is the brand most American buyers associate with American quality. It is the most visible, the most recommended, and the most misunderstood. That is where this video starts. By the end, you will know exactly what Made in America means in the chainsaw aisle, and what it does not. In the 1970s, the American chainsaw industry was something. McCulloch was based in Los Angeles, founded in 1943, and the company that proved one person could fell a tree alone. Homelite had been around since 1921 and was a name every hardware store carried without thinking twice. Poulan was building saws in Louisiana. These were American companies, American-owned, American-built, selling to American loggers and landowners who never had reason to ask where the money went at the end of the quarter. Then it unraveled. Not slowly, not gracefully. McCulloch collapsed under sustained pressure from European and Japanese competitors through the 1980s. The company that had defined portable chainsaw technology for a generation could not hold its position against brands that were better capitalized, more aggressive on price, and willing to undercut the market until the domestic competition stopped showing up. Husqvarna eventually picked up the North American brand rights in March 2008. The name survived. The company did not. Homelite went a different direction and ended up in the same place. John Deere acquired it, decided it did not fit the portfolio, and sold it to Hong Kong-based Tektronic Industries in 2001. Manufacturing moved to China. The Homelite name still appears on orange saws at Home Depot. The connection to American manufacturing is gone entirely. Poulan, which had built a real following among working landowners in the South, was absorbed into the Husqvarna Group. The brand exists as a label. The independence is long gone. What happened to these companies is not a story about inferior products or bad management, though both played a role in specific cases. It is a story about what happens when a domestic industry loses its pricing advantage, its distribution leverage, and eventually its ownership to better-funded foreign competitors operating on longer time horizons. The American chainsaw industry was not outcompeted into irrelevance. It was purchased, relocated, and rebranded out of existence, one acquisition at a time. What remained on American soil after all of it was 3 brands. None of them founded here. None of them owned here. All of them still building saws here, for reasons that have everything to do with market access and nothing to do with national identity. Stihl is the paradox at the center of this entire conversation. It is the brand most American buyers trust instinctively, the one professionals recommend without hesitation, the one with a dealer-only distribution model that signals serious equipment to serious buyers. And it is a German company, founded by Andreas Stihl in 1926, headquartered in Weiblingen, Germany, 100% privately held by the Stihl family. That has never changed, and there is no indication it will. The Virginia Beach operation started in 1974. A rented facility, 20,000 square feet, 50 employees, 1 chainsaw model. The location was chosen specifically because of its proximity to one of the largest deep-water ports on the East Coast. The logic was straightforward. The United States was the largest single market for chainsaws in the world, and building close to that market made more sense than shipping finished product across the Atlantic. What that facility became is worth stating plainly. Today, the Virginia Beach campus covers 150 acres and over 1.4 million square feet of operating space. More than 2,700 people work there. The plant produces over 275 model variants, and is the single largest steel production site anywhere in the world. It went from assembling 12,000 units in its entire first year to assembling more than 12,000 products every single day. The detail that separates Stihl from most of what gets called American manufacturing is vertical integration. Nearly every component in a Stihl chainsaw is made on that Virginia Beach campus. Cranks, pistons, plastics, rope, guide bars. Not sourced globally and assembled domestically. Designed, machined, and built under one roof in Virginia. That is a different claim than most brands on this list can make. None of that changes the ownership structure. American workers build every saw. The engineering expertise flows from Germany. The profit flows back to Weiblingen. Stihl also operates factories in Brazil, Switzerland, Austria, Germany, and China. Virginia Beach is the largest piece of a global operation, controlled entirely by a German family that has never sold a share to anyone. Husqvarna was founded in 1689, not 1889, not 1789. 1689, in a small town in southern Sweden called Husqvarna, as a factory that made rifles for the Swedish crown. It spent the next 2.5 centuries making rifles, sewing machines, motorcycles, and kitchen equipment before it built its first chainsaw in 1959. The brand that now sits next to Stihl at every serious dealer in America started as a royal weapon supplier, 330 years before it cut its first tree. The North American chainsaw manufacturing hub is in Nashville, Arkansas. Not Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Arkansas. Population under 5,000, where Husqvarna operates an 874,000 square foot facility that serves as the dedicated production center for its chainsaw and handheld equipment lines in North America. The facility runs on a partial solar power installation, which is either a genuine environmental commitment or a useful line in a press release, depending on how cynical you are about Swedish multinationals. What happened in South Carolina in February 2025 is the more instructive story. Husqvarna had operated a 1.9 million square foot manufacturing campus in Orangeburg for decades. At peak production, it employed close to 1,800 workers. It was one of the largest Husqvarna operations anywhere in the world. In February 2025, Husqvarna transferred that entire campus to Singapore-based Flex Limited under a long-term supply agreement. All 900 workers at the facility were offered jobs with the new operator. The Swedish parent projected savings of approximately 350 million Swedish kroner over 5 years. The Arkansas facility still builds chainsaws. That is accurate. But what happened in Orangeburg is a clear illustration of how permanent any foreign corporation's American manufacturing commitment actually is when the financial calculation changes. Husqvarna also owns McCulloch, Poulan, Johnsrud, and Redmax. The graveyard of American and independent chainsaw brands routes back to one address in Stockholm. Echo is the brand professionals respect and homeowners overlook. It sits at dealers next to Stihl and Husqvarna. It is priced competitively. It has a serious reputation among arborists and commercial crews. And the average buyer has never once considered where the company is headquartered. It is headquartered in Tokyo. Echo Incorporated is a subsidiary of Yamabiko Corporation, a Japanese multinational formed in September 2008 through the merger of Kyoritsu Corporation and Shindaiwa Corporation. The orange color on the saw is American. The ownership structure is not. The American connection goes back to 1972. The Kyoritsu Corporation, the Japanese parent company at the time, opened the Kyoritsu Corporation of America in Northbrook, Illinois. It started as an importer, bringing Japanese-built equipment into the American market and distributing it domestically. By 1978, the operation had shifted. The company rebranded as Echo Incorporated and moved from importing to domestic manufacturing. The facility eventually relocated to Lake Zurich, Illinois, where it has operated ever since. The Lake Zurich campus is Echo's North American headquarters and primary assembly facility. More than 800 people work there. Over 200 Echo products are manufactured or assembled at that location and distributed globally. Many models sold in North America carry a Made in USA with foreign and domestic components designation, which is accurate and also worth reading carefully. The foreign components include precision engine parts produced at Yamabiko's manufacturing facilities in Yokosuka and Morioka, Japan. Entry-level units draw additional production from Shenzhen, China. The engineering lineage is genuinely impressive. In 1965, before Echo existed under that name, the Kioritz Corporation produced the CS802, the first chainsaw in the world to incorporate anti-vibration technology. That is a real engineering first, and it came out of Japan, not Illinois. What Lake Zurich represents is the American end of a Tokyo-controlled supply chain. The assembly is domestic. The workers are American. The decisions about what gets built, where components come from, and where the profit goes are made in Japan. That is the third brand, and that is all three of them. Here is what the employment picture actually looks like. Stihl, Virginia Beach employs more than 2,700 people. Echo Lake Zurich employs more than 800. Husqvarna Nashville employs hundreds more. Add it up and you have thousands of Americans showing up to a manufacturing job every morning because a German company, a Swedish company, and a Japanese company each decided that building on American soil was the most profitable way to serve the American market. Those are real jobs, real paychecks, real families. That part is not nothing, and it should not be dismissed. But it is worth being precise about what that is and what it is not. Those jobs exist because the math worked out in favor of domestic production. Port access, labor costs, proximity to the largest chainsaw market in the world, and the political and reputational value of a Made in America label on a product sold primarily to American buyers. The moment that math changes, the decision changes. Orangeburg, South Carolina, in February 2025 is the case study. Husqvarna ran that campus for decades, employed nearly 1,800 workers at peak, and transferred the entire operation to a Singapore firm when the spreadsheet pointed in a different direction. There is one American-founded chainsaw-adjacent manufacturer worth naming here. Oregon Tool was founded in Portland, Oregon in 1947 by Joseph Buford Cox, who watched timber beetle larvae chew through wood and designed a chainsaw chain based on the same mechanical principle. Oregon Tool grew into the largest saw chain manufacturer in the world and still anchors production in Portland. American-founded, American-anchored, genuinely significant. But Oregon Tool makes chain and bar, not complete saws. It is not a counterexample to the larger point. It is the exception that clarifies it. The uncomfortable fact is straightforward. The American chainsaw market has no surviving major brand that is both manufactured on American soil and owned by an American company. That combination does not exist anymore. What exists instead are foreign corporations that found America to be a profitable place to build things. For now. On their terms. Subject to revision. The saw in your hand was built by an American worker in an American facility. That is true, and it is worth something. The person who assembled it showed up, did the work, and built something real. The company that owns the saw is in Germany, Sweden, or Japan. It sets the prices, makes the hiring decisions, and takes the profit home at the end of the quarter to a city most American buyers could not find on a map. American-made and American-owned are two different things. They used to mean the same thing in the chainsaw aisle. They do not anymore. Now you know the difference.